Today's episode of The Sit Down with Scott Dion Brown is brought to you by Jennifer C. at HomeLifeCultureLink.com, Nino Simeka at MortgageGodfather.ca, and Jewelry Forever at JewelryForever.ca. Enjoy the show.
Broadcasting live from Glenmore Record Studios in Toronto, this is The Sit Down with Scott Dion Brown, your Sunday morning talk show with interesting guests, live musical performances, and the most fun you can fit in your coffee cup. Hosted by Scott Dion Brown and Regine Alaina, this is The Sit Down with Scott Dion Brown.
Arr, mateys! Arr! Shiver me timbers. I'll send you to the bottom of Davy Jones' locker.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to our Halloween special, episode 152 of The Sit Down with Scott Dion Brown. Hello, Rosanna. Good morning. Happy Halloween. Welcome to the show. Max, good morning. Hello. Welcome to the show.
Arr! Arr, mateys. I'm gonna swab the poop deck.
Hello, everyone, and welcome. And I am Scott Dion Brown, and I am joined, as always, by the greatest co-host in the galaxy, the one, the only,
Regine Alaina. Happy Halloween, everyone. I was going to mimic Minnie Mouse's voice, but I'm like, no, I can't. Too early for that.
What's
She's
Minnie's
very
voice sound
high
like?
pitched, like,
Higher than Mickey's?
yeah.
Because Mickey's is like, haha, hey,
Yeah, so
haha.
maybe you should have been Mickey Mouse.
Maybe I should have. Haha, hey, haha. But I can't picture Minnie's.
It's like more feminine compared to Mickey's high pitched voice.
Yeah, I guess it would be. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it's a lovely costume, Regine. You are
Thanks.
Minnie Mouse,
Mm-hmm.
and somebody guessed on Instagram what I was going to be.
Mm-hmm. It was Raisa, actually. She commented saying pirate. So there you go.
Raisa got it right. It's been a fun spooky week for me because I streamed Monday to Friday, and I had a different costume every night, and I gotta say, pretty terrific.
What were
good
you?
Let me think. So Monday I was Super Mario.
Nice.
Tuesday I was a piglin.
A what?
A piglin is one of the characters from Minecraft.
Okay.
So when you go into the Nether, they're basically pig people. Like they're like pigs, but they walk around upright. They're like porky pigs.
So like Piglet.
Yeah, or piglet or porky pig. Except they don't speak. They're just like.
So is that what you did all stream?
Yeah, pretty much. And they also love gold. So when you go into the Nether, you have to wear gold armor, or else they'll attack you. And then if you give them gold, they'll like give you items because they love gold.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. So I was a piglin on Tuesday. On Wednesday, I was a. No wait.
Wednesday?
Yeah. No wait. Wednesday. What was I? What was I on Wednesday?
Did you stream on Wednesday?
I did. I streamed
Leaf?
Diablo 2. Oh yeah, I was the Red Among Us character. That's who I was.
Oh. Were you
Yeah, so I
sus?
had I'm never sus, but I did have a knife, so I guess I was a little bit sus. Just a little bit. And Thursday, I was an autumn leaf. Ice requested that I be a leaf, and I was like, okay, Ice, I will be a leaf. And I think I was a pretty good leaf, actually. I
I saw the picture.
Yeah. And Friday, I was a Ninja Turtle. I was Raphael.
Nice.
Yeah, it was pretty good.
And yesterday, you were a film director.
That's right. Yes. Yeah, that's right. Last night I attended the what's it called? The Beer and Blood Film and Beer Festival in Simcoe, Ontario, and the my film Storage Room be screened. In fact, shout out to Craig F. Watkins, the festival director. He put it all on, and it was a lovely little screening at a place called the Blue Elephant Brewery in Simcoe, and it was actually quite nice because it was the first time that I've sat in a room with people who like that I didn't know watching the film, you know. So it's a big moment, and the film had a nice reception and a nice applause at the end and a big reaction for the ending, which is what I was hoping for. And they laughed at the right places. It was nice. It was a nice time. It was good. How was your week, Regine?
My week was not as eventful as yours. I did not dress up as much as you did. But
Okay.
I did see my family on Friday, which was nice for the first time in months. So it was nice to, like, I didn't realize how much a hug meant until my cousin hugged me, and I was like, oh, this is weird, but I like it.
Yeah. We are social beings, Regine. And yeah, that's the thing. This pandemic definitely made us realize, I think it helped us realize what's important a little bit.
Mhm.
So, but that's good. So you got to see your family. That's cool.
Yeah.
And
Nothing
and-
as exciting as yours. Oh, but actually, no, I'll save it for the advertisements.
oh, okay. All right. Suspense, everybody. Suspense. All right. Well, why don't we let's meet our guest. What do you think, Regine?
Yes, let's see who our guest is today.
All right. Ladies and gentlemen. Oh, and hello. Maria Brown and Mike Brown are here. My parents are here as well. Morning. Hi, guys.
Hello.
Hello. My dad came down with me to the festival as well, so we watched together. Our guest today is an actor, singer, and dialect coach.
Ooh.
She is a professor of dialects at Seneca College.
Maybe she can teach me how to be Minnie Mouse.
Hey, we can find out. Perhaps.
Yeah. No pressure, no pressure.
And she's also a founding member of Counterbalance Collective, a women-led film production company. She recently sang in Scott Siegel's Great American Songbook concert series and is currently working on a short with 920 Films. Ladies and gentlemen, please give a warm sit-down Halloween special welcome to Bridget Ori. Hello.
Hello, hello, hello.
Hello.
Happy Halloween.
Happy Halloween. I'm underdressed. I'm so sorry.
No, you're perfectly overdressed.
Yeah,
Depending
no,
on
it's
who
not-
you're supposed to be.
Yes. Well, what is it? Well, yeah. I mean, we the reason that she didn't go full on costume was because, she's well, you're an actor and
Mhm.
you've got to shoot a whole bunch of self tapes. So
Yeah,
That's your
our
costume. You're an actor.
exactly.
Yes.
Yes, an actor, an overwhelmed actor
There you
today.
go.
Yeah.
There you go.
there you go.
That's my look. Thanks.
Yeah.
Love
Yeah,
the
but
costume.
this is the world we're in now. Just doing it all from home,
Yep.
making tapes all day. So
How do you like it? How have you found the self tape? Do you like it more? Do you like it less? How do you feel about it?
for me, it depends because I do like being in control, certainly. And I actually have pretty substantial audition anxiety. I get very nervous. And it's weird because I don't get stage fright or I don't really get nervous on set. It's literally just the audition process. Maybe that's not weird. I guess a lot of actors feel that way. The pressure is on to get the job. And then once you've got the job, you can just do the work. So I like not having that sort of in-person pressure and I can do as many takes as I want or whatever, but I miss feedback. You send tapes kind of out into the ether and you don't hear anything and you don't have any opportunity a lot of the time to make a different choice if casting or the director didn't like your choice or maybe likes you but thought wasn't quite the right choice. In the room you can adjust that in the moment, and in a tape it's just like, well, if it's the wrong choice you don't get the job, basically. So
Yeah, that's a good point. Because
You know.
even if like because you in the room at the very least you could even ask like a little question if you needed to, if there's
Right.
something you're not. That's true. Because you have to make a choice and you have to just assume that it's always tough, right? Because you're like, I know I could do it this way. I could also do it this way. I could also do it this
Right.
way. I would love to show you all of the ways I can do it, but I have to choose one, and that's right. And then if it comes across, and they're like, actually, that was not what we were looking for. Yeah, that's frustrating.
Yeah. Yeah, and I feel like I don't know. We don't always know in the room, certainly, like how it went, and I often book the things that I feel like went terribly in the room.
Oh.
But at least there's a relationship that you can develop, or
Mhm.
you can show. I feel like, especially in theater, you can kind of show that you can take direction and do things in a very different way. You get that sort of feedback and opportunity to change something, I feel, more often in theater. And making a tape for theater is pretty miserable. It feels super weird because film and TV, like the framing makes sense or how you act is a little different. And for theater, it's like, no, I'm meant to be in a room taking up space, and having to frame my face for
Yeah.
theater is odd. So that's been a challenge for sure. And I have one of those I have to do this week that I'm feeling stressed about because of that. Like, I want to be, theater's much easier in a space with people and a panel.
Yeah.
Give you feedback. So,
When you shoot a theater audition, I guess, do you, because like you said, it's a larger space. You have to show that you can. Do you have to walk around and maybe have somebody follow you with the camera? Like how do you frame it differently than you would with a film one, or how do you do it?
So it depends. I I actually was just talking to somebody yesterday who had to film an audition where they literally a theater audition where they asked him to like fight an invisible enemy.
Oh.
So he had to get far enough back to show that he was doing fight choreography. So I've never had to do anything like that.
That's
But the
intense.
one I have to do this week, for example, it's for a musical. So they want the scenes framed like you would a film self-tape,
Okay.
here. And then they want the songs waist up, which is still small for theater, especially the scene parts. So that's what I'm going to do. But usually it's like that. They want it framed like a film audition because they want to see what your face is doing, which feels odd to me because so much of it is about your body,
Yeah.
and how much you can project to the back row, basically. But I imagine, I haven't had any callbacks for theater during the pandemic. That I'm
Not
only
yet.
just starting to get yet, but I'm only just starting to get theater auditions again because it only just started to come
True.
back. But I imagine callbacks will be in person because of that, because they're going to have to see bodies and how they move, I would think. We'll see though. Maybe it'll be
Yeah.
Zoom.
Yeah,
Stay
that makes
tuned.
sense. I that's interesting. I didn't think of that because I was actually wondering if the part of the video auditions, the self tapes for film and television anyway, would be here to stay in some capacity. Like I've wondered maybe if they're gonna because it's so much cheaper on their end and they can see more people. So even if they kept it like the first audition would be self tape,
Yep.
and then maybe later auditions they could call you in. But theater, I feel like that's. Yeah, I don't think that really works in the same way. I feel like so much of it is involved with being in the room with somebody because you're gonna be in a room with an audience.
Right.
So
Yeah, and also for theater, much more often you use the reader differently. It depends on the thing, or how it'll be different after COVID because we can't get close to people.
Yeah.
But I've been in theater auditions where the reader is like up with me, sort of moving and working, or at least following me around the space.
Mhm.
And you don't get that obviously in a tape. You don't
Yeah.
get it in Zoom. So, but I do know somebody who was just in a Broadway show and auditioned for that on Zoom. So I guess it just depends. I think we do have sort of a new world now in that you're not out of the running for something if you can't be there in person, which is great. And we were starting to move in that direction before COVID anyway, but I think for theater especially, they were resistant to that. And now we have the opportunity to say, I'm shooting something in California or I'm in a show out there, but I want to audition for the thing that's in New York and we can do it on Zoom. So hopefully some of it stays in that respect, that, I don't know, that we have opportunities we didn't before if we couldn't afford to get on a plane, which I used to do a lot. Because I'm American and I moved to Toronto from New York, and I used to go back to New York for auditions all the time, and I had to get on a plane. And I hope that that's no longer the case now. For my bank account, that would be nice.
Yes.
That's a big, that would be a huge expense if you're going back and forth like that, and especially if it's just for an audition. That's right, because before the pandemic, the only self tapes I was ever getting were for things that were filmed far away, and they were doing casting of a wide search. But I actually think it's helped me in that it's given me more time, I guess, just on camera. And I found now, if I look at my self tapes before the pandemic and now self tapes now, it's like because I've had more time to see my performance and then kind of evaluate it. I'll find, for me, when I do a self-tape, I usually find 2 to 3 takes tends to be the sweet spot for me. The first one, I usually have to look at it and go, okay, that's how not to do it. Now I'll do the next one. And usually that one is where it should be. So I do find, whereas just doing it in person, I wasn't getting that immediate, what do I actually look like on the camera right now? So I find that benefits me.
Yeah, that's a great point. I froze up for a second there. So I missed part of that and maybe was said oh no. I don't know if you heard that, but everybody's back now. But yeah, that's a great point. And I find out it's about that for me too, that I go 2 or 3 takes. And then when I move beyond that and do a couple more, I'm not happy with it, whatever, I usually end up using the third anyway, even if I've done 10. So it is sort of the sweet spot. Do you find, who reads for you most of the time?
It's usually my girlfriend.
Yeah.
So, and actually, she's a good reader. She's a good reader. She
Is
reads
she
with
an
expression
actor?
and everything. She's not, no.
Yeah,
But-
my husband reads with me too, and he's not either. But it's so much nicer than trying to get somebody on Zoom. I have a lot of friends that do that, and I would just rather have him. I don't know, because he's there, and it makes me feel like I'm speaking to a human.
Well, that's the thing. Actually, one thing I really dislike so I don't mind the self-tape. In fact, for first audition, I've kind of grown to like it, almost prefer it in a sense. But what I dislike a lot is the Zoom live audition, because working with a reader, basically what we're doing now, but for some reason, actually, I don't find there's that much of a delay here, even though there's a bit of a one, but Zoom has a worse delay. But I think but it's also worse in that, even a little delay, if you're trying to do some kind of emotional scene with somebody, or if they're supposed to cut you off, or you're supposed to cut them off, or things like that.
Forget it.
Yeah, it's so awkward. Not a fan of that.
Yeah,
at
I don't
all.
like that either. And I find it even more awkward, strangely, for commercials on Zoom. I don't know. I would rather get notes and do another tape for the callback. But most commercial callbacks are live on Zoom, and I just find them very awkward. There's something about it that is even more awkward than the regular Zoom audition for a film or a TV show. I think because commercials are often so silly that you feel even sillier in the room by yourself, and then just having them go okay, thanks. I don't know. And you're pretending to drill something or put a box together or whatever it is you're doing. It just feels really odd. I don't know.
Yep. Yeah. Not a fan. Not a fan.
No.
That's why I'm hoping
Go ahead. I'll cut
I was gonna say that's why I'm hoping. I hope self-tapes are here. If not, I mean, I don't mind going in person, but I have no problem with self-tapes sticking around, but I really want callbacks. We gotta be in person. We gotta be.
Yeah. Let me come back to the room, please. Please.
Well, I was gonna say, speaking of silly commercials,
Yes. Good segue,
aren't you
Regine.
two in a silly commercial? Well, not
Nice
silly,
work.
but
Yes, that's
I
right.
sit
So,
here patiently waiting to like make my moment.
Find your way in there.
and that was it.
I'm not
That
an
was it.
actor. I don't know what to do.
Yeah. Well, yes, that's right. So Bridget and I met on the set of a Woodbine racetrack commercial, which if you live in actually is it it's not nationwide. It's probably across Ontario, right? Is that?
Yeah, I would think so. Because it was OLG, so Ontario
Yeah.
Lottery and Gaming, I guess.
Yes.
Yeah.
So like it's possible that they would have, I mean, unless they're trying to like convince other people from like outside of Ontario
To come in. Yeah.
I don't know. But if you live in Ontario and you watch TV, or if you're on Instagram, or if you're on Twitter, it's kind of been everywhere the last few
I've
months.
seen it so many times.
Yeah, there you go.
That's
Here, I've got
great.
a picture. Here's the photo of us.
I can't
That's
wait.
the photo of us there. We're taking a selfie.
Very happy.
Yeah.
I remember seeing the commercial for the first time, and I was like, "Is that Scott?" Like, I literally took my remote. I was like, "Let's go back and see it." I'm like, "Oh, it was."
And it was. There we are, and we look so. Well, you can see there actually. That's perfect. There's text across the bottom of the picture there. It says, "Filmed prior to COVID," because it was filmed prior to COVID.
When did you film it?
It was cold.
Around
I remember.
this time.
Yeah.
It was October, mid-October, I think.
Yeah, I think
Maybe?
that's right.
2019, but it was cold.
Yeah, because I
Like-
remember it was supposed to be, because I guess the plan was they were going to air it that coming summer, right?
Yeah.
But then
Summer
obviously
2020.
yeah, that's right.
that's
So then the
tough.
pandemic hits. And then obviously everything shuts down, and so they put it on ice. And I didn't even know so I had no idea when they were going to air it, and I was starting to get like text messages from like relatives being like, "Scott, are you in a horse racing commercial?"
That's what happened to me too. I didn't even know it was on, and then somebody was like, "I just saw you."
Yeah.
Like, oh, had no idea. But what's interesting, I was saying earlier, I haven't seen the full commercial. I've only seen the short one, but I imagine the whole initial part of the commercial, we shot, you're bored at home, you're sitting at home, and the whole idea was like, get out and do something different. And I imagine they've scrapped that, right? Because of COVID.
Yeah,
Because everybody was supposed to stay in for so long, it would be a little mean to be like, get out of your house, you loser.
Yeah.
But that was sort of the mood of the commercial, was like, you're being lame and sitting at home, please go out.
Well, okay.
Yeah.
Don't need to tell
Yeah.
me twice.
Yeah.
it is different. One thing I've noticed obviously is like in the ad they mentioned that it's like COVID safe and all that stuff now,
Right.
and so
Yeah.
that obviously wasn't going to be there. But yeah, so we shot a scene exactly where we're kind of all sitting on the couch. Now I have noticed, so the full commercial they've scrapped that part. They just
Yeah.
they show an empty couch now, and then they cut to the
Oh, okay.
racing
That
and
makes
all of
sense. Yeah.
But I did notice on Twitter they did use the scene where we're on the couch for a
Oh.
second, and I can't remember what the text says because it's a much shorter version. They show us on the couch, and then they just cut to us at the races. So they've used it, but they've just kind of I guess tweaked it a little bit to
Yeah.
you
To
know,
not make
it-
people feel bad for staying home.
Yeah.
You're
exactly.
supposed
They were
to stay
forced
home,
to.
but don't stay home.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think if I remember now, the angle now is kind of like you've been at home and now you can,
Ah.
like that type of thing.
Makes
But-
perfect sense.
But it was fun. But yeah, that's right. It was supposed to be. So we filmed in the middle of October, but I remember it's supposed to be summer. So that's why we're
Summer.
wearing all short sleeves, and like they put us all in. So yeah, like short sleeves and summery looking clothes. And then I remember like so we go out and we have to be all fun and having energy. And then as soon as they all cut, they'd have crew run up to us and like throw winter jackets on us while we like shiver.
Oh, wow.
And then-
Yeah, big puffer coats and stuff. It was really cold. Even for October, it was cold. But
Yeah.
I also had, like, the shirt I had on was kind of sheer. It was like not wearing a shirt. So,
yeah,
and being
yeah.
outside, it
God.
was really, pretty rough. But it was fun. And because of the sort of POV way that it was shot, it was
Mhm.
maybe the smoothest shoot I've ever been on, because they didn't have to worry about sort of like clean lines and things like that in the same way. Like it was supposed to be a little messy. And that made it go really quickly because there wasn't a ton of setting up shots and stuff. It was just like, let's go, let's run around.
And also
fun.
no audio as well, right? Because it was just all SOC stuff. So like, I mean, you hear audio in the commercial, but that's all added after. So they didn't actually record any live audio at the time. So that saved a lot of time. That's right. That's right. The one person who was kind of working the hardest was the camera person, right? So that's right. The whole commercial, if you look at it, it's like it's supposed to be through the eyes of somebody. And so the way they shot that is they had this whole camera rig rigged to a helmet. And they had this one woman who was our camera person, like, so she was with us all day. Like, it was weird. You know what it was? I remember we were like, it feels like we're doing like a commercial with a robot. Because like she was walking around and like her face, we had to interact with her, but her face is just a giant lens.
I'm so sorry. I have to let the dog out of it. The dog is here and she's yelling now.
No, we could do a commercial break.
Go.
Oh yeah.
I didn't even realize there was a dog in there the whole time.
Yeah, well, she's so good. She doesn't bark. She's super quiet. She's just like the easiest dog I've ever had or known. But she wanted to get out of the room, so she was doing her version of yelling, which is like these teeny little quiet growls.
In there.
Yeah.
That's cute.
You wouldn't. She's very quiet. No, she's not. No.
But yeah, that is a good point, Regine. We're at the halfway point, so let's do the ad break. That's a good point.
Great.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, that's right. Oh yeah, speaking of commercials, here's some more. Today's episode of the Sit Down with Scott Dion Brown is brought to you by the following fantastic advertisers. Hey, Regine.
Yes, Scott.
Do you want to find out what your home is really worth?
I probably shouldn't do it also as a pirate. Do you want to find out what your home is really worth, Regine?
Maybe.
Are you buying, selling, investing, or renting a home?
Perhaps.
Well, then Jennifer C., Realtor at Home Life Culture Link, is here to help. Call or text Jennifer today at 647-403-8887. Don't deal with just anyone. Speak to a professional. Jennifer C. at Home Life Culture Link. To see her current listings, visit homelifeculturelink.com. The Mortgage Godfather is here to give you advice with any mortgage needs you may have, and he will shop to find you the best mortgage. Nino Simeka, Mortgage Agent.
I'll give you an offer you can't refuse. I give you an offer you can't refuse, Regine.
Find out more at mortgagegodfather.ca or call 905-604-6955. Jewelry forever. Conveniently located at CF Markville Shopping Center on 5000 Highway 7 East Markham. They do custom-made jewelry, repairs, and change watch batteries, all done on site. And we have a fantastic deal worked out with them, don't we, Regine?
We do. If you let them know that Scott and Regine sent you, you'll get 15% off your entire purchase.
That's right, 15% off, 15%. Go on in there, talk to Jerry, get some beautiful custom jewelry, mention the show, and get 15% off. It's a great deal. You'll find something wonderful and special for the person on your list. And find out more at jewelryforever.ca. And it was brought to you by Deliciousness Treats.
Hot chocolate bombs, dipped Oreos, and smash cakes. Deliciousness Treats is actually turning a year old tomorrow.
Wow.
Which is crazy to think. So all week long, we are having a flash sale. So make sure you check us out on Facebook and Instagram at deliciousness_treats and find out more.
Deliciousness Treats, everybody. Sweet treats in a mug. Yum, 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 yum. And if you would like to advertise on the show, it's very easy, right, Regine?
It is. It's simple. All you guys have to do is email us at radioshowad. That's radioshowad@gmail.com.
That's right. We do this show live every week, and we do the ads live every week, which means you can personalize those ads week to week. If you have a sale, an event, or something happening in a particular time in a particular place, you let us know. We let your potential client base know in real time. It's an amazing way to start a brand new relationship with a brand new audience. Radio Show AD, Radio Show Ad at gmail.com. talkshow.com. And we're back. Hello, everybody. It's our Halloween special, episode 152, and we're here with Bridget Ori. And, well, right now you can see her and me in the Woodbine Racing commercial. Coming to
Yes,
TV.
you can.
Yeah. So it's
I have a question.
yeah.
What is a dialect coach? Sorry, Scott.
Yeah.
Oh.
No. Good.
Yes. So I teach accents to actors.
How was
So-
Scott's pirate accent?
Excellent.
Perfect.
Perfect.
cool.
No notes.
Oh, good.
Um,
Nailed it.
yeah, so that's what a dialect coach is. We sort of, the term accent and the term dialect, we kind of use them interchangeably. So for linguistically, they mean different things, but for the purposes of the actor, they mean the same thing, basically. It's
That's
an
cool.
accent. Yeah.
How did you, because that, being able to find
Very
accents, like that's,
specific.
well, yeah, but it's,
Yeah.
well, it's a very useful skill for an actor. I'm just curious, when did you, I guess, realize that you had like an ear for, like, did you go, oh, because I know that some people have a really hard time finding an accent or speaking in another one. But when, how did you, how did it start for you?
Hang on.
What happened? Oh, something was wrong.
Lost her for a second.
Oh. I can still see you, Regine. Can you hear us? Yeah, but you go ahead.
Yeah.
You go ahead, Bridget.
We got you now. Well, I sort of, I guess, I've used accents forever. It was just something I always played around with. And I came from a family of people who did community theater and stuff. So I've been doing this sort of thing my whole life, basically. But when I went to grad school for acting was the first time I had an official dialect class where I was studying this. And I just happened to be good at it. And I started to coach privately with my teacher from grad school. And then she sort of helped me learn how to teach, kind of. And I was helping people while I was in school with dialects for shows at school or with class, just tutoring, kind of, I guess. But then after school, I coached privately with my teacher, and she took some time off to write a book, and she started to send people my way because she could handle far fewer private clients. So that was sort of how I got started doing it, and did it privately for a very long time, just kind of one-on-one, and then eventually a lot of casts of shows, and then more recently productions at schools. And then that's kind of what ultimately led me to teach at Seneca. So I finally have a real person job as a teacher. So I this really sort of niche skill got me into a very nice side job for acting. It's hard to find them that are flexible and support what you need to do and pay you what you need to live on. So it's
That's
been,
so-
That's lucky,
awesome.
really. Yeah.
That's cool. How do you? Is there? Can you think of anything? Is there what's a more common issue that you find actors have, or what's something that maybe they approach wrong when trying to find an accent, or is there something you find that's fairly common throughout, or is it very unique to each person?
That's an interesting question. It does seem to be pretty unique, I would say. And that's partly why I actually really love coaching individually. It's fun to coach a group as well, but it's really nice to have the time to really drill down into specific problems for a specific actor. Or I actually don't like the word problems, because I sort of think you can have what would technically be not a great accent and still do a role in an accent and be very good in it. There are people out there that don't have great accents and win awards for those roles. So it's an individual thing, but I think the most common thing that I would say I come across is actors feeling like they have to focus so much on the accent that they lose sight of the more important thing, which is the acting. You know, I think what I do is important. You know, it's my job to help actors have good accents or passable accents in whatever role they're playing, but I believe the acting comes first. And so if you're so caught up in the sounds that you have to make and you're not telling a story at the same time, you know, if it's for an audition, you're probably not going to get that role, because in the end the acting is more important. So that would be the thing that I feel like I have to remind actors of a lot. You know, confidence goes a long way. If you make a handful of sounds the right way, or even just okay, if you are confident and act like, I've got this accent down, by the time you go into the audition, that's way better than having a perfect accent. If you have to think about it at every step, you know, it's just like with acting. I think, you know, it needs to be in you enough, the script or whatever it is, even if it's, you can hold your sides or you're not memorized or whatever. The storytelling and the choices have to be in you in a way that you're not thinking in the moment. You're just being a human. And people have trouble with that when they're also doing an accent. It's like, oh, I got so much to think about and I can't, and all I'm doing is trying to make the right sounds. And you just have to throw that out once you're in the moment of doing the work, especially in an audition. You know,
that makes
there's
sense.
enough to be worried about.
Yeah, exactly. It almost sounds like it's any it's almost like any aspect of acting, in that, like, let's say you have to work with a prop or you have to work with a costume piece, or it's just another toolbox. But if you almost have to, if you let that thing pull your focus from your performance, then that's really when you're going to get into trouble. So it's kind of,
that's exactly it.
Yeah, that's cool. Regine is having technical difficulties. She says every time she's trying to log back in, but every time she does, we're all in slow motion and all messed up.
Oh no!
I don't know the solution to that. I guess try restarting and coming back. I don't know. That's my only piece of advice. But come back
the
if
old
you're
tech,
able.
when you call tech support and they're like, "Have you tried restarting?"
Yeah, exactly.
Yes, I've done.
Did you turn it off and turn it on again? Okay, well, we'll keep going, Regine. Yeah, it seems to be working fine on YouTube, so we sound fine to them. And you look fine, so I'm not sure what the issue is, but
okay.
But yeah, she has been trying to turn it on. Okay, well, do your best. Hopefully she can get back in, and if not, we'll continue onwards. I did want to ask you though about Counterbalance Collective. Tell us about that.
Sure. So we're a group of women that we got together a couple of years ago in, I guess, early 2019, just feeling like we wanted to make some things together and write the sort of roles we weren't feeling like we were seeing out there for women, and certainly not for kind of early career women. So we sat down and basically did that and shot 9 shorts over 9 days, which I wouldn't recommend anybody do. It was too much, but a really a great experience with a great group of people, and we had a lot of help from kind of the Toronto artistic community in general. So we did that. We shot them in late 2019, in November, I guess it was, and then we released them during the pandemic. And so right now we're working on our next group of films, and we'll actually have a little bit of money this time, so it'll be a much different sort of, we'll be able to hire the people we need to do the work. We have always wanted to pay people, right? You see, artists are asked to do a lot for free, and it never feels good on either side of it to ask people to do that, or to be the person that has to, in order to get exposure or to advance your career, or for an actor to get something on a reel or what have you. So we're looking like we'll have the opportunity to finance these things in a way that makes us feel like we're we're paying the professional rates for people that we want to pay. So we're in development with that right now and sort of ironing out when our shoot dates are going to be and what the budget is going to be. It's a whole different world when you're used to kind of guerrilla filmmaking, to actually have a budget. So I'm sort of overwhelmed in a whole different way than I was last time we made a bunch of films, because we didn't have anything to work with last time. And it was like, how do we get equipment with no money, and how do we get locations and, someone to actually shoot them and light them and get good sound and all of that stuff. So this is the whole other side of that, of, what do you do when it's real and you have money, which is a great problem to have. It's just, I've never had that as a producer, real money. So
awesome.
Yeah, we'll see.
That sounds amazing. Yeah, it's like there's a whole bunch of things you don't have to worry about, but I imagine you probably feel like there's more pressure now.
A little bit. Yeah.
Yeah. It's cool. That's amazing. Can people the original 9 films that were produced, and we have Regine back. Hello, Regine.
Hello. You guys sound normal again.
Okay. We actually decided to just start talking like robots to
I was like, we're talking about dialects. Did they throw in this whole robotic slow-mo thing?
We planned that in advance just to see what would happen.
It was weird. You literally both froze, and I was like, oh. And then you guys came back, and I was like, I'm like, what's happening? Happy Halloween. What's happening?
It's the perfect day for it.
Yeah.
Right? We're back. I'm back. I heard you though. I was watching the interview.
Okay, good.
Sorry.
Nice. Yeah. Oh, I see. Yeah, I am. Yeah, I am tech support. Exactly. But so where can people find out more about Counterbalance Collective, or is there somewhere that they can see the films, or will I be able to see them?
Yeah. So we're on all social media at Counterbalance Collective, and YouTube, our YouTube channel, Counterbalance Collective. They're all on there, and we screened all the films in live streams, so you can see the films on their own, and you can also see all the events that we did around the films. So yeah, they're up there.
Cool. Counterbalance Collective, everybody. Look it up, and you can see see Bridget's work. So I didn't know that you also are a singer.
Yeah, I am. I only recently learned that you are too. I was watching some of your videos. Yeah.
Let's say we spent that whole day together on set, but you don't talk about everything. So
no,
so I think we never.
You guys weren't singing on set to keep yourselves warm?
No, although that would have been a good idea. There's a lot of bouncing. There's a lot of bouncing.
Yeah. A lot of this. Yeah, I am. It's interesting though. It's sort of how I started, was musical theater. It was kind of my first love. But I mentioned earlier that I have audition anxiety, and I have a lot of anxiety now around singing, and I'm not sure. I could analyze where that came from forever, but I took sort of a substantial break from singing because it I don't know, it made me nervous in an odd way. No confidence in it the way that I have in acting at all. So I'm only recently kind of getting back in and auditioning in it again and feeling like I can go out and say, I'm a singer, and it's not a hobby, it's a real thing that I do and part of my package as an artist. So and then I was sort of just starting to do that, and then there was COVID. So there haven't been a lot of opportunities to get out and sing live, so we'll see how I manage now that we can. But I'm excited about having opportunities to go out and do that again, because I really, like I said, it was my first love, and I love to sing. There's nothing quite like it, using your whole body to make music that way.
Yeah, your body is the instrument. I can
absolutely.
I can relate to that kind of, in that I think what must happen, the longer you, particularly with music, and I guess even more so with singing, because singing is the only thing that can like your guitar, it can go out of tune, right? But it's never gonna like accidentally play the wrong notes. But like your voice obviously can.
Right.
But I found the longer that I sing and the more years go by that I spend singing, I think your ear becomes more refined. So when I hear myself back, I can hear much more. I'm much more sensitive to things go off a little bit, and that's made me much more critical of when I'm singing, and also much more like protective of like, I don't know, when I want to be either heard singing or you know. So I think it could be something like, it could be that as you're, whereas like I'll look at something that I recorded like 10 years ago, or me singing out in public somewhere, and now I can hear all the stuff that I did wrong with it, and maybe I wasn't aware of it then. And so you kind of go through this period where you're like, okay, wait, I got to be really, really careful of when I'm going to sing, and because I could see now where I don't know. So it could be some of that, I guess. As you get better, your ear becomes more tuned, and so it makes it harder in a way.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think also, but back to the point about dialects, or like you said, with a prop or a costume, it's another thing that you have to add on to what you're doing and try not to think about. And, you know, I've seen Broadway shows where people crack in the middle of a song because they're emotional or something, and no, it doesn't bother anybody because the story is what's important. But I get really critical, and it's hard for me to keep going if something doesn't go quite right, or to think about the acting instead of thinking about the notes have to go like this. And I am truly not very much like that with acting. I'm really not afraid to fail, not afraid to be vulnerable, that sort of thing. And it's much harder for me to do that with singing and not be thinking about the technical side of it all the time. So I think that's, you know, there's a critic that's much stronger than it is with the rest of my work, you know.
Yeah, I can relate to that. It's what I've definitely noticed is it's a massive difference in when people are in the room with you than when like people watch a recording of it after, you know, because there are really things that I'm not totally sure why, but it's just the way it is. Like if you could belt out and give it a really powerful performance that works really, really well in the room with the people. And then if you like watch the recording after, if it's not been recorded properly, like it can just sound not good.
Not good. Yeah. And this is why I self-tape like I have to do this week for a musical. I'm driving myself nuts. Like, am I going to do that? This is where I self-tape. I have a curtain and a really nice setup in here.
Yeah.
But am I going to do that in here? It's going to probably sound like garbage. So it's a whole different thing. Do you sing at home? Because you're in a condo, right? So do you find you're aware of like someone could hear me right now?
Do your neighbors knock on the walls?
Fortunately, I do sing at home. I don't worry too much about that. Our walls are fairly thick. That's not something that concerns me.
Yeah.
But I am very like cautious about like what I choose to like put out. So like if I've never had to do a self-tape for singing, but if I did, actually, no, wait, that's not true. I did have to sing one thing, except the specific thing was like, I wasn't supposed to be a good singer. So you could kind of just like, oh, I like to go, but you know what I mean? Like, so I don't care. That sounds like
different. Yeah.
Yeah. But like, if I got asked to actually do, like, I would want to, like, this is my vocal recording mic. Like, I would want to like set it up perfectly, and I would want to like do all the stuff that you're supposed to do to make a you know, because there's always that fear as well, right? Because again, like, because I know what's involved in recording, and I know how like a camera mic sounds, and if somebody sent me a recording of them singing, I know that I would be able to be like, okay, this doesn't sound very good, but I know this person's a good singer, you know?
Right.
And you have to hope that like, is the person who's going to be hearing this, like, they know that like this is not how we should be doing this, right? Like they know, right?
Exactly. Yeah. And you know, you go into an audition room for a musical, and they're not necessarily acoustically wonderful. I'm thinking about a lot of the places I used to audition for musical theater in New York would be these little rehearsal studios, and sometimes you're not much further away from the people you're like screaming in their faces. Basically, you're not much further away than I am from this door, but it's still, that's the medium. It's an in-person medium, so they're getting what you're actually supposed to sound like, but there's so much that can go wrong between what the walls are doing and what the microphone on your camera is doing. And
Yep.
I also have some things I could set up, but it's not ideal. But I'm trying to keep the positive attitude of I don't have to be nervous about it coming out the right way the first time. So I have a number of takes to do the song until hopefully the callback, you know.
Yeah.
But I do have these we just moved in here, not just in February, but I used to live in a place with very thick walls and didn't mind singing as much there. And here it's like, we hear everything. We had no idea before we bought the place. And now we're kind of like, oh, so this wasn't the self-tape and music haven we anticipated. It's so I probably won't do this one at home. I'm thinking like a band rehearsal studio sort of thing. I might rent and just bring my ring light there and do it that way.
That could work.
So yeah.
Only thing to watch out for, depending when you go and which one you go to. I remember a rehearsal factory I've been to where it's like you can never not hear the other bands coming through the walls.
Yeah, that's just it. So it might just end up being here. I have to try it today when I'm taping the other things and see like how awful it is because I've done other musical things here, but usually sort of classic musical theater. And this is, I'll be belting. It's going to be loud.
Nice. It's Halloween. Just say it's your costume.
I'm just screaming. Don't worry, guys. But I don't know how that'll sound in here. We'll see.
In fact, I've never heard my neighbors, but what I have noticed is if I'm standing near the door of my place, anybody even having a light conversation, I hear them perfectly in the hallway.
Yeah.
And I remember, like, for sure, like when there have been times when I'm shooting a self-tape and I'm like doing the lines and I'm like, I know that the person outside can hear me. Like, you know, so they're hearing me being like, you know, make sure you try these, you know, whatever I'm doing, you know. But I've kind of just resigned myself to be like, you know what, like they're just gonna think that there's something weird going on in there, and that's just
they have to. In my last place, we didn't know our neighbors, so whenever anything very strange was going on, I was like, oh, that's gonna be weird. But here we know the people above us and next door, and they all know I'm an actor. And there was one tape I had to do where I was straight screaming, and I went upstairs. Or no, that wasn't a tape. That was live on Zoom. And I went upstairs and was like, at around 12:30, it's gonna sound like I'm being murdered. Don't worry about it. So they know. So at least there's that.
That's good.
It's almost a little hard for me with singing. It's harder that they know me because they're like when you're practicing or warming up, it doesn't sound great. It's not supposed to. Yeah. And I don't love that I have to then see people I know after they've heard that, but I'm going to try not to think about it.
Well, you could just be like, no, you could just be like, did you hear that? I don't know what, just pretend I was like, yeah, but maybe it was the floor below me.
Wasn't that awful?
Or be like, was that you guys?
Yeah. You guys need to knock on the door right after your audition and just be like, loud. You guys need to keep it down, all right? I don't know what that was, but I need that to stop, okay?
So loud, guys.
What was that screeching noise?
And it will be. When you're warming up to belt, there's a lot of odd warm-ups and screeching indeed. Yeah.
Because you're basically like trying to, I don't even know what it is, but you're pushing out the bad stuff. And you need to push it out by like, you got to bring it out to push it out.
Yeah. Yeah. It's warm-ups are not, you don't want necessarily people to hear that, but it is. Yeah. That's life. It's the life of
just say you're watching like High School Musical or something. It wasn't.
That's a good idea, actually. I was watching a really weird show. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, you guys should check it out. Really good episode. Really good episode.
It's called Scroll
Down.
So we got 2 minutes left. So this
wow.
hour shoots by, and the episodes that shoot by because the conversation is just fantastic.
Fun.
Yes.
I was trying to get back into the call for half of it, but that's
Yes.
fine.
I'm glad you made it. I'm glad you made it,
No.
Regine.
I know.
But,
I'm glad you're back.
Yeah. But before we wrap up,
you.
other than at Woodbine Racetrack, Bridget, where can people find you?
You can find me. I am on Instagram at Real Bridget Ori. Twitter is Ori Bridget. You're not going to see much activity from me, but I do post when there's something
Happening.
worth seeing. I'm like 85 years old with social media. I'm like, what is a TikTok? I don't. But when something's important, you will find me there, blasting it out. So, yeah, usually on Instagram is probably the place you'll see the most activity when there is any to be had.
Sweet. You know what? I think it's actually
Real.
healthy to be spending, especially Twitter. It's better to spend less time on there, anyways. But
I'm not on.
Yeah,
I only
it's
go on
been
Twitter
better
when
for
I
me.
have the notification.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, and I turned all of that off. So if you need to find me, my website bridgetori.com, there's a contact form. That's the fastest way because
There you go.
I'll actually see that. Whereas like months go by and I'm like, you texted me, you sent me a message on Instagram. Like I'm not gonna see it. So, yeah.
Cool.
Good to know.
All right. Well, links
Mhm.
are in the description. I think I have your Twitter, Instagram, and website are all there, so you can
Great.
find
Thank
it
you.
down below. And Regine, where can people find you?
You guys can find me on Instagram, Facebook, and sometimes Twitter at It's Regine Alaina. You guys can follow the pageant sit down on YouTube and Instagram. Actually, every Wednesday at 7:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. If you'd like to follow my pageant journey, you can do so on Instagram and Facebook at Mrs. Galaxy Southern Canada 2022. And yes, reminder, Deliciousness Treats is turning 1. We have a flash sale all week long, so make sure you check us out on Facebook and Instagram. That's a lot. Scott, where can people find you?
You can find me right here, where I've got hosting this video. I forgot I have this, and this is part of my costume, but I forgot to show it. Isn't it cool? It's like an old looking. It's not real. It's a prop toy, but these are what pirates use. You know.
Arr! Pirate gun.
Anyways, you can find me right here. We're watching this video, youtube.com/ScottDionBrown. You can also find me on Twitch and DLive, but YouTube's the best one because not only do you get the live streams, but you also get the music, the vlogs, the unboxings, all that stuff. youtube.com/ScottDionBrown. You can also find me here at Instagram and Twitter. But again, I post on there similar to Bridget's situation when stuff's going on. But I don't really like to go on Twitter and talk to people or do any of that because Twitter's a horrible place.
Right? It is. Don't go there.
Yeah. It's only a source of sadness, okay? But you can also get up.
The only time you're on Twitter is to update our Twitter.
Yes. Like I'll retweet something from the sit down one. Or like, for example, like I tweeted yesterday that I was actually, did I? I'll probably tweet that I was at the festival yesterday. I put it on Instagram, I think. Yeah, I can't remember now. But anyways, yeah. But anyway, yeah, follow me there. And ladies and gentlemen,
doggy.
Hello.
Say hi before we go.
Ladies and gentlemen, next week is our 3rd year. I can't speak today. 3rd year episode. Yeah, it's
our
next
3-year anniversary of Sit Down.
Season 3, starting soon. Coming soon.
Wow. Congrats.
Amazing.
Thanks.
Well, tune in next week, everybody. Bridget, this was a lot of fun. It was nice to chat with you again. Thank you for being here.
Yeah, it was great to see you. Thanks for having me.
Yep.
Enjoy your self-tapes.
Yes.
Thank you. I'll try.
break all the legs. Break all of them. There we go.
Yes.
Okay, everybody. We will see you next time. Happy Halloween. Thank you all for being here. Hit the like button on this video if you haven't yet. Hit like, hit subscribe. Make sure you follow Regine. Make sure you follow Bridget. Follow me or else. And we'll see you all next time. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Arr, matey.